Hi channel members, welcome to this reading. So we're going to do something a little fun with this video. You guys are more than welcome to decide whether you want to keep this video private for channel members and keep it to yourselves, or if you want this to be public and shared with everyone. So I'm going to run that poll in the comments for the first 10 minutes that this is posted. So if you happen to be here the first 10 minutes that I post this, you can leave your decision down in the comments. Okay, so I'm already tuned in, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull some of these scrolls. These scrolls come from Steph over at House of Sky, and I'm going to link her down in the description box below if you want to check out her channel. Okay. You guys are more than welcome also to scry, or, try to see if you're able to. So especially if you're new to any of this, it's kind of a fun exercise. Just write down in the comments any shapes that you see. You don't have to know what they mean. You can try to figure out what they mean if you want, but just write down any shapes that you see. Okay, I'm getting like some seriously big energies here, and I feel like they're flanking me on either side, and so I'm going to take this. I didn't feel like I was supposed to pull the third, but I'm going to take this. So let's see. Oh goodness, usually I'll get like one big energy for the reading, and then I'm like oh man, but in this reading we're getting two. Okay, and so flanking on either side, this is telling me it's a very liminal space. Okay, I guess I am supposed to take this. It's telling me it's a very liminal space here, and it's interesting because this liminal space that I'm being drawn to is actually called the Lovers. So there's something here, and Lovers doesn't have to be like in the literal human way that we think. It's almost like the merging of things, that like cohesive union. And the two energies that I'm seeing here, usually when I pull these scrolls, I see little parts and pieces, but I'm seeing these as a whole. I'm seeing over here, I'm seeing the energy of Hecate. And over here, I'm seeing the energy of Shiva. Now, I have a very close relationship with both of these deities. And if you've been here for a very long time, you'll remember me talking about Shiva. It's one of the reasons why my hair is the way that it is. In India, they're not called dreadlocks. They're called jatas. And a long time ago, I decided I was on a path to study the mysteries of Lord Shiva. And so that's why I have these. They have thousands of years of history for that. So let's see. Here, what I'm seeing here is I'm almost seeing Hecate as like a doorkeeper for this energy. Now, when we talk about this energy, I want you to think about this energy more in terms of like true consciousness, okay? We really get into like this idea of non-duality whenever this energy appears. So here, with this idea of like a doorkeeper of true consciousness, this is one of the reasons why Hecate holds the keys, and she also holds the torch, right? She also holds the dagger to cut away things that don't serve, right? To end things. It's almost in this violent force. There's this idea of being fierce, but also being willing to expose oneself to the truth. It's stepping forward with this energy that she's giving me right now. And so someone here, you are at a place inside of your life where there's something that you have to face. And this doesn't necessarily mean, I think when we hear that, usually we will think what normally comes across when we say things like that, like there's some sort of wound we have to face or something about ourselves that we have to face. And this feels a little different to me. It feels almost like a truth about our own divine nature that has to be faced. It feels a little bit, I will say for many of you, it feels a little bit leaning into that divine feminine power, right? The power that keeps trying to be silenced. I would definitely say, I'm going to say this, and this isn't for everybody, right? I'm going to say this, and I'm not saying this specifically, yes, I am, I guess. Okay, I'm saying it specifically to women in the audience. If you're a man, you can also listen to this and see if it checks for you, okay? But I'm being told that specifically this message is coming through for women in the audience. If you're somebody who has, if you're somebody who deals with men and you have had lots of really negative experiences for men, whatever it was about you that caused that reaction in that current is going to be the place where your power actually rests, right? So for some of you, it may be whenever you speak up for yourself or whenever you place a boundary. That's an indicator of some place where the energy needs to be brought out at this time. It's not saying that that's the point of your awakening. It's not saying that it's the point of your journey. It's just that the message is that at this time, whatever it is that's being silenced in that way by the divine masculine energy is something that needs to come up. So here, when we get into that complex, it's in the energy. It feels a little bit like by doing that, someone is actually liberating themselves from something. And I'm noticing that as I'm saying that, I'm being drawn to all these boxes. It's almost like these boxes that someone keeps being contained in, that no matter where they move, they're in a different box. So maybe this is a repetitive cycle that's trying to be removed from your life, right? Maybe it's something you've been working on, and it's like your true consciousness now is trying to remove this energy. When we have this sort of story and the narrative and those cycles, that divine masculine energy inside of us, this Shivatic energy inside of us, has itself in containers. And in order for it to truly express and to kind of destroy the illusion, right, to destroy all the illusions inside of our life that Saturn has placed on us for our protection in some ways, because we're not ready to express this energy completely if, for example, we're a fucking mess. Or we have a lot of lenses on our eyes and we're shooting off at people, and we read correction as, targeting behavior. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's all these energies that we have as human beings that really prevent us from living in true consciousness. And so what this energy is seeming to do is it's trying to bring someone closer and closer and closer and closer to that space. It's interesting to me that I felt like I had to adjust these so that they were equidistant between, like, on either side to me, and that they come out as Gemini, because it means that someone has been tapping this. Someone has been like brushing up against this true consciousness. You know that you have when all of a sudden duality no longer makes sense for brief moments, or maybe it's longer moments, or suddenly you realize how you are affecting the outside world in a greater capacity than you could have ever fathomed, right? In this very mystical, magical sort of way. This is how you know that you've been brushing up against that true consciousness. For some of you, it's going to manifest, especially if you're a little bit more over here. You might be having lots of synchronicities, lots of deja vu right now. You might be having lots of guides show up inside of dreams, meaning, I'm going to put that a different way, right? Rather than speaking about guides as something outside of ourselves, I'm going to speak about it as parts of our psyche that are emerging to try to teach us, and they're interfacing with us through the form of something separate. So this is how you kind of know that this shift into true consciousness is starting to happen. When we awaken, this is what we're being led towards, right? And I know that not everyone's going to resonate with Lord Shiva, because I think we all have an idea in that image. And so I really want to present it in the way that we view it in more non-dualistic traditions, which is that this is just your true self. This is your true self, right? Before the individuation, before the ego, before the trauma, before the labels. So this is one of the things that Hecate right now is coming through the collective to try to open this doorway. You can think of this as the greater mystery, and this doesn't necessarily have that sort of male-female thing that we normally think of. It has polarity, but at some place that polarity merges, right? And so this is a very interesting energy to come across this, because it tells me that whoever this message is for, you are on a more mystical path than maybe other people are. It tells me that you are much more focused on self and consciousness and healing of self. It tells me that there is this, with this womb light coming out, this like abundance of creation that's emanating from you at this time, whether that's like creation the way that we normally think about it, or if it's self-creation. It's just a very generative energy that's coming out at this time. For some of you, it's also learning to dance, right? To dance with the world, with the flow of life. I see her in like this dancing position where, for me, when I see Hecate dance, it's like the movement of this very powerful energy, a movement through the liminal spaces. So liminal spaces are probably very important for somebody right now. This is a very interesting energy for me, just because I feel like I caught glimpses of this in the Full Moon Messages event. Both of them came out. A couple other deities sort of came out for me, but these two most strongly. And I think that this is probably the first time in the collective that I read for that I've ever seen these two come out together. And so this is like, it goes beyond like tradition. It goes beyond the label or the name of these, deities. it moves into the force. You know, what is this force and what is this force, and how does this force almost grant passage into the other? It's like the mysteries that somebody is learning over here, whether you're resonated with it under the name of Hecate, or if you're simply interacting with the force of a very magical, powerful, divine feminine energy that brings you into liminal spaces. This is kind of the initiator of this true consciousness. And so this is why the Lover's card is coming out, because this feminine energy and this, like, you know, the most refined form of like this divine masculine, so much so that in some ways it doesn't even have this it doesn't even have a duality like that, it's emerging together of this. And you know, it creates a third, right, which is what the middle trident here kind of represents. It creates a third. And so this is like this wonderful, like, merging together of the feminine and masculine forces inside of someone. Now there's this energy that's coming through because I'm being really drawn to this flower right here, and the flower's inside of this pyramid. So for me, pyramid really represents the perfect shape. It is, you know, it's the triangle, but it's like the triangle in 3D. And for me, the triangle is about manifestation. And when it's in 3D, it's like manifesting through dimensions. So this is something that's happening for someone where it's almost like different layers of reality are being experienced right now. So someone here, you may feel like, wow, I'm having this experience of the 3D, but I'm also having this experience that transcends the 3D, and I'm having these experiences that interlink together, almost like someone's not in sober consciousness, but they are in sober consciousness. It's just that they're merging with God consciousness. And it's this beautiful unfolding that seems to be happening for someone. So I'm going to say this because whenever that happens, you know, remember that not to get down on yourself when that closes up, because it is like a flower. It opens with the sun, with consciousness, and it closes at night when the feminine emerges and the reflection of that consciousness takes place. So this is a process that opens and closes and opens and closes. And I think that opening and closing, they're happening for like longer stretches for someone, whereas previously they may have happened very quickly, right? Very, like, I'm having this experience briefly. I'm having this experience kind of briefly. I'm having this experience for longer periods now. You know, someone's been on that journey where it's been opening more and more. And for some of you who are far enough on that journey, it's like your journey has taken a whole new meaning where it's moving into this, like, oh, I'm on the path to enlightenment, right? Okay, let's see. I want to pull some, I'm feeling runes. Those are very interesting ones. Okay, so when we get into this, this is like, the idea behind it is like a partnership. It can be like exchanging of goods, horses, transportation. And so this is kind of the vehicle, right? Like I said, this energy, she's operating through the collective as a vehicle, and that vehicle is taking us somewhere. The vehicle is taking place through, for many people, liminal spaces with Laguz. Laguz is like, it's water, right? So when we think water, we think things like renewal and cleaning of ourself, cleaning of especially emotional spaces. When we get into water also, it can be spirits. It can be help from our spirits through those astral spaces, and how the spirits help us to sort of purify ourselves. That's one of the times I see Lagos show up. So here it's this purification of the lovers. It's the purification of the two energies. Some of you may resonate with having Kundalini experiences because we do have this feminine channel, the masculine channel. And then the third way, really I want to tell you that this feels more like the Kundalini energy, and it's leading here into true self. So, or true consciousness, or I just heard actuality, which I normally wouldn't put together with that, but that's it fits. That's, you know, that's what I heard. So actuality for some of you may be the term that you're using. Here, what I see with this rune here is I'm seeing this as, well, this is Ansu's. And so the meaning of Ansu's is a communication, insight, truth, wisdom. And that's exactly what this energy is. It's that, it's truth. I don't know what else to say about that. It's like truth. It's interesting because it's like taking you to the truth. So this doesn't mean that if you're watching this and parts of this resonate with you that you have to work with any deity specifically. This is something that your true self is guiding you to do. It's something that's happening. And you can probably see that that process has already taken place if this reading is for you. That, you know, you went through the sphere of synchronicities and deja vus, and then that passed into moving into maybe an archetypal layer where you started to understand archetypes on a deeper level. And then you move into a layer where now suddenly the dualism starts to fade away. I'm being very drawn here to this shape. I'm seeing it here and I'm seeing it here. And it's almost like an orchid, right? And when we see the orchid inside of tarot, the orchid really represents the masculine energy, but it's a refined masculine energy. And the reason why it represents that is it goes back to alchemical symbolism. It's like the, rather than saying masculine, and the reason why it was usually put into masculine terms for the tarot is because God was seen as masculine. But what it really represents is that God essence purifying. And so that's what this reading is saying, is that someone is on that path and that's what's happening for them. So I'm going to leave this here. If this reading resonates for you, awesome. Leave me a comment. Feel free to like the video and make sure if you watch this in the first 10 minutes that you got that vote in, and let's see whether this is shared with everyone or not. So until next time.